Ladies and gentlemen of the old worlds, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Sons of Sigmar and Norsca here on the Blood Grove, and we're going to be coming in with an OG wagon build facing off against Anticity and his double Dreadmaw, as well as the Great Shaman Sorcerer and Beorg Bearstruck. So very, very cool build. Now, breaking down my build, it's going to be Spearmen in the front, backed up by wagons. So I had been playing a lot with Norsca. I think this is one of Anticity's first times really leaning into the Dreadmaws, and I did not want to bring a static gun line. I thought about it. I was like, are we going to go Hawk and Long Rifles? Are we going to get Silver Bullets? I feel like they're just going to get punished by the Dreadmaws. So let's make our entire army something that the Dreadmaw cannot punish. So Spearmen. We do also have the Engineer for the restock, so he's going to be giving ammunition to the wagons. Bright Wizard with the Burning Head, Boris Todmerger to break what we can, Outriders, and then quad wagons. Looking at Ensfield, very badass. He's got double Dreadmaws, my favorite, and Beorg Bearstruck. Now, this guy, I think, actually is going to be used in a ton of Norscan builds. He is an unholy raid boss to kill. 6,000 HP. He could honestly straight up probably beat Karl Franz in a fight. He's, like, insane. 53 on stats, 500 weapon strength, huge bonus versus large. He does have this battle cry ability, so when he charges, he gives an AoE buff. He has passive regeneration, and it's just really, really hard to deal with. So over the rest of the army, it's going to be Bearmen into the Sunset, Great Shaman Sorcerer, and ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all she wrote. So let's get this battle started, see if the wagons can kind of keep things in check. Anticity's Trouser Snakes here are going to be heading over to Objective 1. Thankfully, they don't have any capture weight, and I could see them at this point, so I knew where they were. The Outriders will be a really good counter against them because they can move away when they unburrow and then just shoot them. So that is more or less going to be the game plan. Wagon's going to be rolling up on Objective 2, trying to grab what they can, and we're going to be getting ready to start shooting at the Bear and or the Shaman Sorcerer. So this guy, I think, has some built-in Fizz Res. Yeah, he's got 20%, no missile resist built in, so honestly a pretty good target to shoot, but he does have passive regen, so you got to worry about that. So the Dreadmaw popping up, Tremors all up in this game. If you're really paying attention, you could definitely dodge those. But yeah, it's pretty good damage against the Spearmen, and it will continue fighting, but we do get the Outriders ready to shoot, and they are going to be peppering the Dreadmaw, while the wagons get a lot of value against the Great Shaman Sorcerer. So far, we're happy about that. Now, Ent on the other side is going to be calling in 2 units of Hounds, so Norscan Ice Wolves en masse, which are a good counter against War Wagons. I wouldn't say a counter, but they can put good pressure on them, and if they catch them, they do well. So he's got his Dreadmaws going bananas in my infantry. We have the Engineer. He's like, oh my god, what just popped out of the ground right there? So he's got his long rifle, going to be shooting at him, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. He's maybe a little bit scared right now, but we've got a long reload time. Toddy jumping into Barrowin, which was a mistake. I should have been using Toddy over here to fight the Norscan Ice Wolves. Although we do call in Knights of the Black Rose, which yes are anti-infantry, but with their stat line, they are going to be able to defeat Norscan Ice Wolves. War Wagons retreating, being harried back by the Norscan Doggies, while Boris Todbringer is going to be coming over to try and terror route them, but one of the dogs does get by here, which felt really, really bad. And also, look, the Dreadmaws were able to route me off the objective, so they did bully my Spearmen, and I really only have the Engineer as well as the Bright Wizard there now. Burning Head going down to the other side, helping to break those wolves. And on the back, we do call in Reiksguard Knights. I really actually been liking Reiksguard Knights a lot. The 120 armor and the really high defensive stats, I think has been making me like them a little bit more than Knights of the Blazing Sun. Although arguably, Blazing Suns may be better against Norsca because of all the fire weaknesses and things like that they have on Skin Wolves, but it's hard to say. Another Burning Head going to be activated. That's going to wreck those Bearmen pretty good. And we do see Boris Todbringer and his Black Rose Knights fighting hard here, getting the Shaman Sorcerer low. One Dreadmaw camping on that objective while some Bearmen come in, but we do salvage our backfield. The Reiksguard Knights are going to annihilate those Bearmen. The wagons have now set up shop, and we're getting really good pot shots into the Shaman Sorcerer here. And yeah, old Toddy, he's doing it, man. Toddy's old faithful, you know. There can be DLCs and updates and power creep, but old Toddy, he's going to stay the course and fight the fight. So he's battling it out right here against the Shaman Sorcerer, who is now broken, and on the backside, a couple Spearmen going to be lurking, while the Outriders retreat away, and the War Wagon does rally, thankfully for me, so that was pretty big. So value trading, we are ahead. Obviously, getting down the Shaman Sorcerer on a Mammoth is a huge win for us. Kurgan Horseman with Great Weapons coming in, and combining with Beorg Bearstruck. Beorg has been putting an unholy beatdown on Boris. He's honestly like a legendary lord. He's really, really good. One of the Dreadmaws, though, does teleport in, and teleports into a very precarious position, and does have a 20-second cooldown on burrowing, so it's going to be having some issues here. And the Dreadmaw is wavering, negative 16 leadership, and when the Dreadmaws break, they just disappear off the map. They're done. So that's how you kind of keep it balanced, right? If it just like burrowed and then like could rally and you couldn't intercept it, that'd be really obnoxious, but the Dreadmaw does pay the troll toll here. So Boris Todbringer going to be duking it out with the Norscan Ice Wolves and the Kurgans with Great Weapons, and we're calling in more Knights of the Black Rose. But the Kurgan Horsemen will be good against Empire Heavy Cavalry if they get the charge. If they're the ones getting charged, not going to be so good for them. Unfortunately, Beorg Bearstruck, he's been the biggest problem for me this game. He's been bullying Toddy and really pushing back my cav, and you can see right now I am triple caps. But we have a couple state troopers rallying and heading to the objective. Engineer battling Bearman over there isn't a great call for us. Meanwhile, Knights of the Black Rose getting hammered by the Great Open Kurgans, and the wagons have been getting their ammo restocked, so they have been feasting. And Kurgans, do break pretty easily in the face of terror, so that is one thing that's really nice. Other DREADMAW back there lurking as the Outriders do rally, and we'll be turning around to shoot them. You can see the DREADMAW eating a couple shots on the way out. And we're just going to be calling out flagellants and some sustainable infantry to try and get back in the points. Value trading Ent does pull back a little bit. He is able to bully my Knights of the Black Rose right here, so those guys do get harried and beaten down by Beorg and company. Big burning head here, going to be trying to go right up the pipe. And we do get a good one right there. Going to be cooking some of those foul heretics as they do get roasted by the Light Wizard's magic. And one of my favorite things about war wagons in general is their capability of capturing objectives in mobility-based games. They're just like mobile battering rams with capture weight, which is great. They're going to be hitting and moving. I'm maneuvering over here, knowing I have a couple spearmen units. Flagellant's going to be moving up, but, the new Bearman infantry will beat Flagellants. They just have, I believe, a lot more HP. Let's see, 32, 35, 30 against 42, 26, 37. The reason why the Flagellants have higher stats is because they're losing, but it would appear that the Bearmen are winning that fight. I mean, 45 armor is not insignificant. It can help them win such fights. So back in this fight, Anticity does move his DREADMAW over here with Beorg Bearstruck. It's going to be there causing havoc. Meanwhile, the wagons are unleashing all their salvos. Flagellants coming in from the far side to try and help out. And even though Flagellants do lose a lot of the fights in this matchup, they can still, grind on the points and give you staying power, which is good. Toddy does get a terror rout on the Kurgan Horsemen, which was good because I was about to lose the game there. If Toddbringer did get surrounded and killed by Beorg, or beaten down by Beorg for another minute or so, I could have been in really, really bad shape. All right, so back in the woods, Flagellants are running, and I'm retreating the Flagellants away from 3 Bearman units. The reason being is because I'm going to be calling in some heavy cavalry to try and help win that backfield fight. The DREADMAW here is getting hammered pretty good by the wagons and the Outriders, so the Powder Corps of Sigmar continues its fight. And it's funny because war wagons are actually really good in tabletop too. Not necessarily their shooting is okay. They're just a solid dynamic unit that can do well in melee, is really, really point efficient, and can get the job done. Flagellant's battling Bearmen here, Anticity with his mobile corps. He's got his Kurgans and his Hounds lurking over here, trying to make sure I don't get to any of the objectives. And currently we're in a bit of a sketchy situation, but this is where like a light bulb went on. I was like, oh wait, there's nothing on objective 2 and 3. Let's just send our entire mobile army, which you can't really keep up with because anything that gets near the wagons is getting blasted, and then Boris Toddbringer is just hammering them, right? So Bright Wizard's going to be coming, Outriders going to be shooting at the Hound units, and back in the woods we do get our Reichsguard Knights. So Zintler's Reichsguard are out. But the Bearmen are numerous, and honestly, those guys are really meaty. I think they have 2,000 extra HP compared to regular Marauders. They have armor and, of course, their ITP, and they have the rage mechanic. So the longer they fight, they're getting Phys Res and stuff. Norscan infantry are really no joke. So these Outriders fleeing the scene. We're going to be waddling towards the middle objective right now, as Anticity does call his Lord back in. So it is going to be the Shaman Sorcerer, which I saw him in the bushes, and I was like, all right, I'm not too worried about that. I think it would have been harder for me if he spent that 2,000 gold on just like capture weight stuff and things for objectives, but I could be wrong. So Grundle's Defender is going to be coming in. This objective is going to be going to us. And on the other side here, we can see the Flagellants fighting to the bitter end against the DREADMAW, and the Kurgan Horsemen with their big beat sticks are going to be getting in on those guys. Yeah, Norska's feeling pretty good. I'm trying to think if there's like, of the 3 factions, maybe that's a discussion for another day once I play a couple more games, but who is going to be the strongest after this update? I mean, Slaanesh is already really strong before the update. So obviously they're the easy answer, but again, I'm kind of just have a conspiracy theory that High Elves are going to be insanely good. I don't know why. I just feel like the Skycutters are going to be really good, and when you get them in the hands of players like Charix and Anticity and these guys who really main High Elves, it's going to be trouble. So I've been having trouble breaking out of my backfield here, so it's time to bring in the Colleges of Magic and get a big burning head to roast those barbarians. So they do get cooked pretty good by the burning head right there. There you go. Getting trekked into the Shadow Realm. Meanwhile, the Bright Wizard's going to be heading towards Objective 3. Objective 1 is going to be Grundle's Defenders. And so it begins. Flagellant's heading over. So there they go. And in the backfield, we finally escaped from our cage. I was like, God damn, it took me forever. But now we're kind of back in the game a little bit. Yes, it says I'm down in value, but it's not keeping in track Boris' healing and a couple other variables as well. There's certain spells that don't track. You guys get the idea. So Beorg Bearstruck is a menace. Ent will win on just one objective, so I'm going to need to get all of these, sending some Spearmen over here, but he does have the DREADMAW guarding it. Flagellants and Reichsguard Knights eventually going to get out of here and be able to help, and we can do a little bit of fast forwarding while we posture up. So wagons moving, going to be going after the Bearman, truly the Bearman. So we're going to go after him with the wagons, and Ent, He did a crazy ambush. He basically saved up a shitload of resources and called in 3 or 4 horsemen. I was wondering why it was so quiet, because he hadn't called in anything since the Great Shaman, and that made me get really comfortable, right? And then he just has this huge mobile army of Kurgan horsemen. So there's going to be a bunch of great weapons moving in. Wagon's going to be trying to shoot him down as they approach, but many of the horsemen will make it. Some of them do get picked on the way in, but yeah, they are a scary, fast unit here. Coming in on this side, Reichsguard Knights trying to get to the objective. Flagellants trying to intercept here as well. So going to be cutting the wagons inward to try and cut them off. And Flagellants will do really well against Kurgan horsemen. Kurgan horsemen do not like fighting these type of chaff, high DPS units. Enta, though, ever the split pusher here, is going to be using the big Great Shaman, punishing my Grundle's defenders. And here on this other side, we do see the Kurgan horsemen with great weapons coming in, and they are going to be causing quite a bit of havoc. So more pursuit coming in from the Kurgans. These ones do kind of get wrecked a little bit. Burning Head going to be activated right there, as my Bright Wizard does get hunted down, and the Engineers also has seen better days. But this point, it's going to be very safe for us. We have Silver Bullets here and 2 Spearman units, which are going to be very nice. And Flagellants are now coming over to this side to try and hold this point. Kurgan horsemen running over my Grundle's defenders, while Boris Todbringer is going to be attacking the Mammoth character again. The Warshine Mammoth is a pretty strong fighter, though, and will really counter the Flagellants, but this is why Flagellants are great. Sure, they're going to get massacred, but in a game of domination mode, they're going to fight to the bitter end for Sigmar, and they'll hold that objective. You know, they'll buy me some time. More horsemen on their way in. On the middle point, Flagellants fighting it out, but he does have the capture rate. The wagons completely bashing the backfield dive. We called out some Reichsguard Knights, which were able to dominate those horseman units, especially the dual weapon variant. And now we're going to move in. Burning Head from Inticity there. We are able to dodge it a little bit, which was good. But Beorg Bearstruck, dude, I'm telling you, this guy is a raid boss, man. How much value do we have on him? About 1,600, and he's been tanking a whole lot of damage as well, as my Engineer does get slapped up. Toddy tried to take down the Great Shaman Sorcerer, so I knew in my head that we had units on the middle, so I was like, we got to get that back. Bright Wizard returning, and we're going to be rotating across with the Silver Bullets. Silver Bullets, you know, all about hunting werewolves and werebears and, you know, whatever other creatures we have from this monstrous arcanum here. Reichsguard Knights going to be heading up to the point. They should be able to push back the Kurgans, and the battle wagons continue blasting. Now, Enta's really looking to be in a position where he could win on just one point. His Mammoth character is beating up Boris Todbringer a little bit. He does have some Kurgans over there, which are doing great work against Toddy with their great weapons. So we call in the wagon support to try and help. But yeah, these horsemen are a menace, man. They are... the jury is still out on if they're going to be like auto-take units. I don't think so. I think they're just going to be niche in these kind of matchups. The Silver Bullet's doing great work. This is huge. Blowing down Beorg Bearstruck, so he's going to be getting the business, but he is preventing me from capturing here. Burning Head going to be activated from Ents, but thankfully I did dodge it. That could have been a disaster. Reichsguard Knights dominating the dual weapon warriors right there, and we're going to need them back in the fight here in just a second. Silver Bullets just kind of pushing across the map. More spearmen going to be heading here, and to the backside, we're going to be calling out state troopers from every part of the Empire to try and help us out. All right, so Toddy moving in. We do see Beorg Bearstruck is shaken, and his battle cry ability is activated, so when he gets that charge, super cool mechanic, by the way. I love it. I mean, honestly, the flavor of a lot of these units in this update is just huge wins across the board. All right, so Great Shaman eating it again. I mean, Silver Bullets are in position, and they're going to be ripping some long-range shots. We do get in Knights of the Black Rose, which are excellent against Norsca. Any infantry factions, really. Black Rose Knights are just a super good piece. War Wagon setting up shop and shooting. Boris Todbringer is wavering and exhausted, and Beorg Bearstruck is finally almost down, dude. Almost healing cap. This guy has been such a menace. But I'm having trouble getting this objective, and I honestly was starting to panic a little bit. He was getting close to 1,400 points here, and the Knights of the Black Rose are going to be heading over. He does have some Marauder Horsemen, the Riders of the Mighty Serpent, and coming across is the Shaman Sorcerer. Wagons moving in, Silver Bullets are chasing, and wagon ammunition is running a little bit low, but we have been restocking, but our Engineer has been dead for quite some time. And here comes a big pit fight. Reichsguard Knights clearing off the Marauder Horsemen here, and the Kurgans going to be going in to fight them. And if they get the charge, I mean, the Reichsguard Knights could be in trouble. Burning Head activated right there. I believe that was Anticities trying to break the leadership of the Black Rose Knights. But we do get the wagons coming in. Toddy's going to come in, and we have some Outriders as well, which will help me to try and finish off that Great Shaman Sorcerer. Far side objective is pretty safe. I mean, we have an Arwar Spearman, I believe, or no, just 2 Spearmen. The Arwars, I think, are in the middle over here somewhere. And we need to get this point. So the point looks like it's going to flip to us. We do manage to get it, but more Kurgan horsemen are coming in. And if he gets this point for even a second, I'm in some danger, right? He's only 55 points away from winning, so 55 seconds, a little bit less than a minute. And with a big Mammoth, like, he's got that aura, too. So all his nearby units are getting Phys-Res, or getting Vigor per second. The Mammoth character itself is still fresh in terms of Vigor. And Toddy is basically Palpatine here. He's on death's bed. Moving across our Spearmen. And do we have any more state troopers coming in? I can't quite remember. Outriders shooting where they can, Toddbringer flying overhead, and the objective is in flux. If he captures it again, I probably just straight up lose the game. So Spearmen moving in, and they do arrive to the objective. The brave sons of Sigmar, you know, there's all these fancy bear people and this and that, but all, you know, sometimes all you need is a humble floppy hat and some spearmen to try and hold it down. So the wagons being used as battering rams, getting wrecked by the Kurgan horsemen. Mammoth character is going to be on its way in. Outriders and the remnants of the wagon corps are going to be trying to fight, but we do get Black Rose Knights coming in. Black Rose Knights will be excellent. They have super high melee defense at 50, so they're going to be very, very good at holding. And the Mammoth character trying to stay out of range of my silver bullets. Anticity, of course, with that godlike micro is able to stay just out of range here, but finally, you know, he's trying to stay on the objective, right? But we are able to screen him out, and finally we get up on the point. Black Rose Knights going to be engaging versus the Grey Opens. I think the Black Rose Knights will just straight up win in that fight, but, you know, they'll take some damage in the process. We need to use Toddbringer too. You can see the Kurgans are actually doing some excellent damage against a much more expensive cavalry unit, so maybe the Black Rose Knights do lose that fight. Hard to say. But Toddy coming in, he's at 900 health. He's not going to let the ULRIC warriors go quietly. I guess these are Black Rose Knights are like more of an Elspeth kind of Moor type unit. But the Kurgans do break very easily, whereas the Sigmarites are going to be a little bit more stalwart there. So they do end up holding as more and more horsemen are coming in, but these are just dual weapon Kurgans, so they'll be trash against cavalry basically. They'll just bounce off the high armor of the Knights of the Black Rose. So that pretty much seals the deal. We're able to just barely win that game right there. Super, super tight. Mammoth characters breaking. And victory for ULRIC and for Sigmar. So that was a very meta Empire build, right? You know, wagons, each of which got an insane amount of value. Burning Head, Toddy. This is a very, very meta Empire. Nothing too avant-garde about it. But Anticity's build was off the chain. And it's crazy how close he can make games, even if his build was, like, in a way, countered by mine. Because the DREADMAWs basically did nothing. He had, like, a big, big setback on those. The Bearman guy was a nightmare, man. Beorg Bearstruck was unholy. And the Shaman Sorcerer did okay, but he got the 4 wagons with a big mammoth. You're going to have a bad time, usually. He was obviously experimenting with the Kurgans, which I think did okay. 2,500 on these guys, 1,900, and then 1,400 here. That ain't bad. That is not bad at all. So cool to see them in action. I'm very glad he tested those out. All right, guys, make sure to check out Ent's YouTube channel if you haven't seen him. That's going to be it for tonight. Adios, do widzenia, and Sigmar bless his ravaged body.